the only thing that's a little weird about it
Yeah.
is that it breaks super easy.
Oh, really? That glass that looks like it's unbreakable is not so
No, yeah,
unbreakable, huh?
no, the edge like makes it more fragile.
Wow. I didn't know that. Now
Yeah,
I'm going to have to get a cover for sure because I don't have a cover on my glass. In fact, I have just a basic cover on the back.
If you got a tempered glass cover, it'd help a lot.
Okay. What kind? A tempered?
Yeah, it's called a tempered glass cover. If you just look it up, it slips right over and it's pretty much like a second screen,
Okay.
but it just prevents it, like that'll crack. That glass will crack instead of your phone.
Right, right, right. Okay. I'll look
Yeah.
into doing that. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is x squared equals 12y.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I were to put that in normal format, what would it be?
Can you help me out with this? Like show me step by step what to do?
Yeah, I can.
Because I'm a little, I don't know, I haven't learned the parabolas and stuff as much as I should have.
All right. Well, normal format is y equal x squared. Actually, this is vertex format. Let's talk about this. Because this really is the perfect format to put parabolas in. Okay.
Okay.
In other words, when you have it in this format, you know exactly where the vertex is. It's at h comma k. And you know that whatever a is, it's either a vertical stretch factor or a vertical shrink factor.
I kind of remember talking about that a little bit.
Okay. So if we take this equation and put it into this format, I get y equals 1/12 x squared.
Okay.
With me? You see how I do that?
Kinda.
I divide both sides by 12.
Okay.
And x squared over 12 is the same as 1/12 times x squared. So now that I have it in vertex format, what are h and k?
Um, what would they be? How would you
Both zero.
what is that?
They're both zero.
Zero?
Yeah. Yeah, because if I make h 0 and k 0, you get this format that we're looking at. Y
Okay,
equals some
so
number times x squared.
just to be
And
sure.
so the vertex has to be at 0 comma 0. Well,
Okay.
that doesn't do much good because all four graphs have the vertex at 0 comma 0. However, you must be on conic sections because they've given you a couple of things here that aren't actually functions, but they are parabolas. B and C are not functions. Notice that neither one of them passes the vertical line test.
How do we do the vertical line test again?
By passing a vertical line. If I
Oh,
pass a vertical line and it hits 2 points on the y, it's not a function.
alrighty.
Notice that on these others, I can't pass a vertical line. I can pass a vertical line anywhere, and I only cross 1 point on the graph. That's what a function is. Now, not to say that you can't have relation. That's what C and B are. They're not functions, but they're relations. What's the difference? The biggest difference is the one that you've been learning for years is this one. Correct? Y equal x squared, which is just a graph with a parabola going through the origin, the vertex, and it's like looks like that. Okay? That's the
Mm-hmm.
parent function.
Apparent. All right.
Okay? If we were talking transformations, that would be the parent function.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the fact that it is preceded by a 1/12 What is the implications of that A? That's what A is 1/12. What does that do to the parabola? Does it make it flatter or does it make it skinnier?
Skinnier.
No.
Wait, no, it'd make it flatter because it would be 1/12. Never mind.
Exactly. In other words, it's going to look something like that. So we know, first of all, that it's either A or it's D. I'll get to that in a second. Which one is it? Which
It
one
couldn't
is
be A,
flatter?
right?
It's got to be D.
Why? Yeah, it'd have to
D
be D.
is flatter than A. Now, what kind would it take to be B or C? Well, you just switch the X and the Y. In other words, if I have X equal Y squared, that's not a function, but it is a relation. And that could be that one or that one. Notice the difference. One is Y equal X squared, the other is X equal Y squared. So to figure out what the standard vertical parabola function is, always just think about what you've been learning for 2 years, y equal x squared, where you have y to the 1 power equals x squared. So that is a function. That is a parabola, but it's not a function. It's a parabola on its side.
Okay. I think the next problem we have I sent to you.
Okay. Yes, I did. There it is.
Okay.
What form of parabola is this? Is it a vertical one or is it a horizontal one?
Horizontal.
Correct. Because this basic format is the y is what's being squared and the x is not. So if verticals are y equal x squared, horizontals are x equal y squared, where we're looking at y squared here. So this is definitely going to be a horizontal one. And we've got 3 horizontal ones to choose from. Which way does this open? To the right or to the left?
A opens to the right.
Correct? No, I mean our function here. Does that open to the right or to the left?
To the right.
Yeah, because A, which is 16, is positive. When A is positive, it opens to the right. If it's an up or down parabola, when A is positive, it opens up. When A is negative, it opens down. Well, when it's a left or right parabola, still thing is A is positive, it opens to the right. So now we've got it down to between that one and that one. What is the vertex that we're looking at here?
Is it 3?
What's the x-coordinate of the vertex?
The x-coordinate of the vertex. On the 2 functions below, or?
Right here. In other words, that you can read the vertex directly from that. The x-coordinate is 5.
Okay.
And the y-coordinate is 3. In other words, this is in a sort of vertex format. It's just a different kind of vertex format. It's this equals a times x minus h. Well, that's vertex format for a horizontal parabola. Okay, so now that we know the vertex, which is it, A or C?
Is it A?
What's the y coordinate in the A graph? Is it positive or negative?
It's positive.
No, the y coordinate is negative. If I were to figure out, yeah, that's negative. That's below the x-axis.
Oh, it's below. Sorry, I couldn't really tell.
But if I look over here, the y coordinate is above the x-axis.
Okay.
And I could blow that up so that you could see it a little more accurately.
I have the other one right here. Like I have my actual slide right here, so I can just look at it.
You can see that the
Oh
C,
yeah, now I see it.
yeah, C is at 3.
So
We
it's
can't
C
really tell it's at 3, but we certainly can tell that it's above the x-axis, and whereas A, the vertex is below the x-axis, the y coordinate of it. So this has to be C.
All right.
And,
So this one.
whoops, this was the only problem on this page?
Yes.
Okay.
The next one I have, I think we can.
You can verbalize it?
Yeah, I can verbalize it.
Go ahead.
It says find the vertex, the focus, and the directrix, and draw the graph. And it's x squared equals 12y.
Is this a vertical or a horizontal parabola?
That's horizontal.
Correct. Now, tell me if they've given you this new format. The new format basically is this. Hold on a minute. Four P times y minus k equals x minus h squared. Notice that that's not quite the same as our vertex format. There's no A, but they also tell you that P equals 1 over 4A. So this is the standard format when you're talking about parabolas that are conic sections, which is what you're talking about. In other words, you want to know where the focus and the directrix is. This is some sort of a conic section that looks like that. You want to know where the focus is, which is inside the parabola, and you want to know where the directrix is, which is an exact equal distance from the vertex as the focus is. Both of them are P.
P.
Are P.
Okay.
So let's rewrite this equation in this format over here.
All right.
Well, first of all, what's H and K?
They're 0, right?
Okay, so now our format becomes this. Well, we're not that far from that format. That means 4P times y equals x squared. Well, looking at our equation, can we figure out what P is?
Can't. I don't think we can we?
We can. We got x squared all by itself, and we got y being multiplied by 4p, which has to be 12. So what's p?
What is P? Because you said it's the focus, right? You said it's the focus on the...
First of all, solve for p before we figure out what it is, because being the focus doesn't mean anything to you. But if I try to put this equation into this format on the left, I get P equals 3. If P equals 3, then that becomes 12y equal x squared, which is exactly what we have. So
Okay.
that tells me that P is 3. Now, what that means is the coordinate of that focus is 3, 0.
How do we how does it become 3? Is it just because the 4 is there?
Because what I do is I say 4P has to equal 12. The coefficient
Okay.
of the y is 12. And the standard format says 4P times y equals x squared. So
Okay.
solve that, you get P equal 3.
That makes sense.
Now, the directrix is a vertical line in this situation, the dotted line, but it's the equation of a dotted. It's an equation of a line. What is the equation of that dotted line?
The directrix?
Uh-huh. That's what the directrix is that dotted line.
Okay.
What is it, the equation of it? You have to
I
define.
don't know the equation of the directrix. I never learned that one.
Well, first of all, it's a vertical line. All vertical lines are x equals something.
X equals y squared, right? Or is that a...
It's the same distance from this vertex as the focus is. The
Oh,
focus is 3 units to the right of the vertex. That means the directrix goes through the point that's 3 units to the left of the vertex.
okay.
That makes the equation of that line x equal minus 3.
X equals -3.
Now, the only thing I didn't answer was the vertex. I did answer it, but I just didn't write it down. The vertex is at 0, 0. There's no h and no k.
So pretty much the directrix is just
Once you find the focus, you know the directrix.
okay, that makes sense.
Exactly the same distance. In other words, this distance right here from there to there is the same as that distance right there. And it doesn't matter whether it's a horizontal or vertical. If I had a vertical parabola like that, and my focus was somewhere like that, well, now my directrix is the same distance. That distance is P. That distance is P. That's why P is so critical when you're talking about parabolas that are conic sections. In other words, they spent 2 years teaching you about parabolas that were just quadratics. Now, all of a sudden, you're studying conic sections, and you discover that, parabolas have this completely new property that I didn't know about, where they have a focus, which turns out to be really critical. All your dishes that you see on top of people's roofs, they are shaped in the form of a parabola. And that focus is where the receiver is. So all of the signals coming off of a satellite hit the parabola and reflect into that focus, no matter where it hits. In other words, if a signal coming from the satellite hits there, guess what? It bounces to there. If a signal coming from the satellite hits there, it bounces to there. So parabolas have tremendous reflective properties.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the way all light bulbs or flashlights are made. If you take a flashlight, shape it like a parabola, and put the bulb where the focus is, then all of the light coming out of that bulb is reflected off of the parabola and goes straight out. So you get as high of an intensity light beam as you can get. And you do it by shaping the lens of the flash bulb or the flashlight in the shape of a parabola.
Alrighty.
So the true value of parabolas really comes from this reflective property. It's how we build telescopes. It's how we build flashlights. It's how we build receiver dishes that collect signals from satellites. Parabolas are the answer. And everything has to do with where that focus is. That's why they give you this completely new format. I don't particularly agree. I really would prefer they use the vertex format and let you figure out what P is based on the fact that P is 1 over 4A, but I'm not the one that sets down the rules of education. So my guess is that you've seen this 4P. Not everybody does, incidentally. There are some school systems that don't get this format.
Okay.
Are you one of them or not?
I mean,
Have you ever seen the P before?
I've seen the P.
Then you've got the new format.
Yeah, this is new.
You're never going to see P if you have not been given this new format.
Okay.
Okay?
Let me type all these answers in and see if they're right.
Okay.
It says the focus is wrong.
What'd you put in?
Parentheses 3, 0.
What question did it ask?
It says the focus is blank, type an ordered pair. But it said the vertex at 0, 0 was correct, which makes sense.
Doesn't like the focus of 3, 0?
Yeah, that's what it's saying.
It's definitely it.
I wonder.
Type
I wonder why it's not it. I'm
Can
looking.
you type in the Directrix?
No, not yet.
Yeah,
Not until that one's done.
not until you have. Does it allow you? Does it tell you the answer? Can you click on a button, find out what the answer is for the focus?
Hold on, let me read what it says. Once the equation of the parabola is in standard form, the focus will be in p units away from the vertex. Yeah, see, this isn't. It's telling the same thing. So yeah, there's no way I can get like the answer, unfortunately.
Well, I don't know what to tell you because
Hold on.
I can't tell if it's being put in wrong or
It says the answer was 3, 0.
isn't
Or
that what you
it
put in?
was 0, 3.
Ah, well, that's not the same point, is it?
No, I don't know why.
It's got to be 3, 0. They're different. 3, 0 means the x coordinate is 3 and the y coordinate is 0. If you put it in as 0, 3, then
No, that's the one that said was right. That's what it said the right answer was.
the right answer is 0, 3.
Uh-huh. That might have been a mistake on their end, I think.
No, it's not your mistake. My mistake. I've been looking at this whole problem wrong the whole time. Apologize.
It's all right.
This is a vertical parabola. It's
Yeah, so it would be above the line, wouldn't it?
y equal x squared. Okay.
Y equals x squared? Okay.
Yeah. In other words, when you have a parabola that is y equal x squared, it's a vertical, up and down parabola. If it is of the form x equal y squared, it's a left and right parabola. Well, this is of the form y equal x squared. So the mistake I made was thinking it was horizontal. It's not horizontal, it's vertical. Here,
It's vertical.
Here's what we have. 12y equal x squared. Immediately that tells us it's either up and down. It's either opening up or opening down. For it to be left or right, it would have to be this, x equal y squared. See the difference?
Yeah.
This is left or right. This is up or down. Now, everything else we did was correct. The standard format is I can understand why you were confused, although not really, because there's the standard format. The 4p goes in front of the variable that is not being squared. That's all you need to remember.
The 4p goes in front of the variable that's not being squared.
If it's this one over here on the right, then the 4p goes in front of the x.
Okay.
Since it's an up and down parabola and the variable that's not being squared is y, the 4p goes in front of the y. So p still comes out being equal to 3. It's just right there. And the coordinates of that are 0, 3. My apologies. Now, tell me and it'll accept that. Yeah, I don't know what you have to do to get to the third part.
Or the directrix?
Yeah, what's the
B0.
equation of that dotted line I just drew?
So you said it's the opposite of whatever, right? Of the
Well, the equation
focus?
of lines. You need to know the equation of vertical lines and horizontal lines. You're
Okay,
right.
what's the
This
equation of
distance is exactly 3. But this is a horizontal line. It's not a vertical line. Vertical lines
Okay.
have the format x equals something. Horizontal lines have the format y equals. And in this case, what's y going to equal?
X squared?
It's a number. We know
It's a
exactly where
number.
that dotted line
3 or -3, sorry.
is. -3. That's the formula for the equation of the directrix. Now,
Okay.
why does the directrix matter? It's because of the following. The definition, the true mathematical definition of a parabola is a set of points, which are my graph, where it's the same distance to the focus as it is to this imaginary directrix. Those two lines are the same distance no matter where I draw them. In other words, I can draw it up here. That distance is the same as that distance, no matter where I pick a point on the parabola.
All
That's
right.
essentially what makes it the reflective properties, such that all rays coming in bounce towards the focus, the receiver. Okay?
Okay.
So the only thing we did wrong in the first case is I failed to recognize that it was an up and down parabola, not a left and right parabola. And the only thing you have to look for is which term is being squared. If it's the standard that you've been looking at for 2 years, then we know those are up and down parabolas. If it's this new thing, x equal y squared, those are only parabolas when you're talking about conic sections. That's not a function even. That conic section does not pass the vertical line test. But it is
Okay.
still called a relation, and it's still a parabola. It's just a parabola that is horizontal. So
All
anyway,
right.
your directrixes are always equations of horizontal or vertical lines. And always remember horizontal lines are y equals some number and vertical lines are x equals some number. So all you need to know is the number.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
So the next one I have is x squared equals, or no, sorry, x squared minus 8y equals 0.
Okay.
Okay, then we have to find the vertex, focus, and directrix.
Tell me if this is a horizontal or a vertical parabola.
This one's a horizontal, right?
Nope.
No? Why not,
Which
though? Is
variable
it?
is being squared and which one is not?
Oh, the x is being squared, so.
That makes it vertical. That's the same. This is the same kind as you've studied for 2 years. It's always y equal x squared, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the format of this. If I put the y on the other side of the equation, I got x squared equals 8y. That is a vertical parabola. And I know that it opens up. Furthermore, what's the vertex?
8. Or
Let's talk
Is
about
it
the
still
standard
0?
format. Here's the standard format. 4p times y minus k, which is the y-coordinate of the vertex, equals x minus h, which is the x-coordinate of the vertex, squared. There is the general format for a vertical parabola.
Alrighty.
Well, let's write this slightly different. Let's write it 8y equals x squared. Okay, instead of x squared equal 8y. Now, if you look at that general format, you can tell a lot. What's k and what's h?
0.
That means the vertex is right there.
Oh, okay.
Now, what's 4p?
4p, so it has to equal 8, right?
Correct. So
So it
what's
would just be
p?
2.
2 is p. We know we have a parabola opening up, and now we know where its focus is, at 0,
Mm-hmm.
comma 2. So go ahead and put in your vertex, 0, comma 0.
0, 0. Let me put this in real quick.
And then put in your focus.
Alright. So the focus is 0, 2.
0, comma 2, yep.
Mm-hmm. Alright, then the directrix is -2, correct?
Well, that's not
Y
going to like,
equals -2.
there you go. I was going to say it's not going to like the answer -2. It's got to be the equation of a line. All
Okay.
equations of a line are y equals some amount of x, or y equals a number if it's a horizontal line. And so in this case, it's y equal -2. Remember this
Alright.
distance? This distance is basically minus p. This distance is p.
Alright, that makes sense.
Okay?
And then this one says, find an equation of a parabola that satisfies the given conditions.
Okay?
The vertex is 0, 0, and the focus is 4, comma 0. So with having the vertex as 0, 0, that means that h and k would be 0, 2.
First thing you want to figure out is, are we talking about an up and down parabola or a left and right parabola?
Well, if the 4 is in the first position, it would be a horizontal, right?
Correct. In other words, let's plot the focus. There's the focus right there.
Okay.
Where's the vertex?
0, 0.
There's the vertex. If the vertex and the focus are on the same line, that is the type parabola it is. In other words, they are on the same horizontal axis. Therefore, my parabola can only be that, because the focus is always in that spot of a parabola where you would put the receiver. In other words, it's never going to be up here outside the parabola or down here outside the parabola. Now, what is it asking for here?
It's asking for find an equation that satisfies a given condition. Type your answer in standard form.
Okay, let's talk about the standard form for a horizontal parabola. What is it? First of all, which
It'd be
variable is
x
squared? Is it the x or the y?
y, right?
Correct.
Y.
So the y is going to be squared. So it's always y minus k. So that's going to be squared. And then the 4p always goes in front of the variable that is not being squared. And the h always goes with that. So there is our general standard formula for this horizontal parabola.
Okay, so 4p. Let me write that down. 4p.
Always 4p, regardless of whether our focus is at 4, comma 0 or not.
Okay.
Where's our vertex here?
Vertex
Hmm.
0, 0.
Okay, that takes that term out and that term out.
Mm-hmm.
What's P?
P is it has to equal 4, right?
Okay,
So
so give me the final equation. If P equals 4, what's my equation?
no, wait, P wouldn't equal 4, wouldn't it?
So
Though it would be.
P is that distance right there.
Oh, okay,
What is P?
4.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be 16 times, yeah,
Times what? Give me the rest of it.
times 4
No,
minus 8.
no.
No, or comma parentheses.
Remember, the
Oh,
final equation always has an X and a Y in it. Always.
okay.
If they gave me this equation, I would figure out that the focus had to be at 4 comma 0. So it's all they've done is given us the vertex and the focus, and they want us to come up with the equation of that parabola.
Okay.
And once you know the focal length, that's called the focal length. Well, that means P is 4. Plug it in, you get 16x.
All
Now, it
right.
gets a little
So is that
bit
the
harder. Gets a little bit harder when the vertex is not at 0, 0, but not really, not as long as you can remember that. In other words, all of math is about remembering the standard general formula. If you can remember the general formula on all these things, that's the best starting place you can begin with.
okay? So is that the 16xy? That's not the standard form, right?
That should satisfy their answer. 16x equal y squared. You could write x equal, that's the same thing as x equal 1/16 y squared. They may prefer that, but they're the same thing.
Okay.
I don't know. But when you're answering into a computer, it's tough to say what they will accept and what they won't.
Yeah, that's true.
I would try both. In other words, if it doesn't like it the first way, try the other way.
Okay. I said, I don't know. I don't know why it's being so weird right now.
What is
I
that?
said
What'd you put in first?
I put in y squared equals 16x,
Didn't like
and
that?
then I typed it in, and then after I typed it in, it said that's wrong, and then said the exact same answer.
Okay, I don't.
I think it's just the site is a little weird at
Some
times, is
things
all.
I can't figure out. And some of these computer answers are weird because they insist you do it exactly the way they want to do it. I'm guessing that that would probably be correct. X equals y squared divided by 16. X equal y squared divided by 16. I'll bet they accept that.
Yeah, it was the first one actually. It just didn't type right
Okay,
or something.
all right. Let's go on to the next.
The next one we have is the vertex is 0, 0, and the focus is -5, 0.
Well,
And we have to.
they're making them easy by making the focus or the vertex at 0, 0. Tell me whether this opens up and down or left or right.
It goes right. It opens right or left, right?
Well, the first thing we want to do is plot the focus. There's the focus right there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the vertex. So that tells you exactly how the parabola, the shape it has to have.
So it would have to open left.
Correct. In other words, the focus is always inside the parabola. So what's the standard format of this equation going to look like? Given that it is a horizontal parabola, is it going to be of the form y equal x squared or x equal y squared?
It'd be y squared equals x, right?
Yeah, x equal y squared. In other words, that's the form that I'm going to write. I know that that's a horizontal parabola.
Okay.
I also know my 4p goes in front of the variable that's not being squared. So it's got to be 4px equals y squared. Now technically it's 4p times x minus h equals y minus k squared. But in our case, h and k are 0, so this 4px equal y squared works perfect. Simpler.
So it's 4px equals y squared?
That's the standard format. They
Okay.
told us what p is.
It's 5, right?
Actually, minus 5.
Minus 5?
Yeah, p does have a sign. If p is to the right of the y-axis, it's plus. If p is to the left of the y-axis, it's minus. If
I
it's
didn't.
up and down p, then if it's below the x-axis, it's minus. If it's above the y-axis, it's plus.
I just didn't think p had a.
It does. It does have a.
Okay.
In other words, if I substitute my 5, I would get 20x equals y squared. Well, that wouldn't be the right parabola. That would be this parabola only opening up the other way. So if I put minus 5 in, I get this. And that's the equation that describes this parabola.
Okay. Let me write that.
And again, I don't know how you want to put that in. There are various ways you can put it in. You could put it in as x equals minus 1/20th y squared, or you could put it in y squared equals minus 20x.
It just likes the y squared in front. If you don't put the y squared in front, it doesn't consider it.
Try y squared equals
Yeah,
minus 20x. It accepted that?
Yeah, it accepted that. It just doesn't like it on the other side.
Yeah. Fault of technology, I guess.
Yeah.
Because
Especially on math,
obviously
I
they're
like
the same
written
things.
work better.
So it should accept either one. But
That's true. Whatever. All right, the next one we have is find an equation for the parabola satisfying the given information. The focus is 0, -6 pi, and the directrix is y equals 6 pi. Okay. So that one would open downwards, correct?
did it tell you the vertex was at 0, 0?
No vertex.
Okay. There's my focus at 0, comma minus 6 pi. Right?
Yeah.
We know the directrix is a horizontal line. Has to be horizontal. Yeah, and this thing has to open like that.
Okay.
Only if the vertex is for sure at 0, 0. Well, no, I'm sorry. The vertex has to be there.
At 0, 0?
Well, no, because they gave us what the directrix was. In other words, is all I plotted was the focus and the directrix. Once you have the focus and the directrix, there's only one parabola that fits. First of all, the vertex has to be halfway in between them. And then once you find the vertex, the focus has to be inside the parabola. So that parabola that I've drawn on there is the only possible parabola you can draw.
Okay.
Now, is that an y equal x squared or an x equal y squared parabola?
It's an x equals y squared, correct? Or no, it's yeah, it's x squared equals y.
Well,
No?
put the y in front
Oh, okay.
because that's the way you've always had it. You've always had y equal x squared. That's a standard quadratic, right?
Okay.
You've never had
Yeah.
to deal with x equal y squared until now. Well, you're not dealing with it here either. But so, given that I can tell that the vertex is at 0, 0, because the vertex is halfway in between the focus and the directrix. So
Okay.
I don't need the complicated format with the H and the K. I just need this easy format, which is that.
4py equals
Yeah.
x squared.
The 4p always goes in front of the variable that is not being squared. So once you figure out that that's the standard, then stick your 4p in front of the y. If you figured out that this was a x equal y squared parabola, then you'd stick your 4p in front of the x.
Okay.
So this is our standard format. Now, they told us what p is. What's p?
It's 3. All right, hold on.
Look at my graph.
Okay.
P
Look
is
at your
the
graph.
distance
It's
between the vertex and that. That's p.
-6.
Negative 6 pi.
Okay.
There was a pi there, am I correct?
Yeah, there was.
It was negative 6 pi. So it's minus 24 pi times y equals x squared, describes that exact parabola.
24 pi y equals x squared.
Right, because
Negative.
I can see that p is a negative, first of all. In other words, to get to p from the vertex, I got to go down. That's negative.
Okay.
So
That sounds simple enough.
that is 4p.
Okay.
P was minus
Awesome.
6 pi. 4 times it is minus 24 pi.
Alrighty.
They're making all of these easier by putting the vertex at the origin, because they get a little harder once the vertex moves and is no longer at the origin. I'm talking about a parabola like that, then you have to use the general equation that has the h's and the k's in it.
Okay.
Whether they're going to give you one like that or not.
No, actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to cut it off early today. I have to leave for right now.
No problem.
All right. Thank you for your help. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be using your help a lot
Well,
lately. I think I already told you that, but
yeah, that's fine, Merrick.
okay, cool.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.